That way you have no problem. We were trying to brainstorm and all these things to make them come up with things for the time.
Welcome, everyone. And we will open with our opening song. And if you'd like to stand, please do.
Fill me up all of my days. I'll share what is mine with a deep-seated knowing that each time I give, I will also receive. It's more than enough, even though it may seem contrary to popular notion. God is our source, eternally giving, higher than the sky, deeper than the ocean. This is mine, the joy overflowing, will fill me up all of my days. I share what is mine, and the beauty of knowing that each time I do, I will also receive. It's more than enough, even though it may seem contrary to popular notion. Eternally giving, eternally giving, higher than the sky, deeper than the ocean. Abundance is mine, joy overflowing, will fill me up all of my days. Abundance is mine, joy overflowing, will fill me up all of my days. Abundance is mine, joy overflowing, will fill me up all of my days. Abundance is mine, and joy overflowing, will fill me up all of my days.
Welcome, everyone. Good to see all of you this morning, all bundled up and enjoying the cold. How wonderful is that? All right, let's get us started. As we light the candle, we remind ourselves that all is joy and all is wonder. If we live our lives knowing that the Spirit is all there is and we are one with that Spirit, then all is good and all is right. And it is doing and coming and expressing just as it's supposed to. And so this morning as we gather, we open ourselves to speak a word because we know that our word carries power. We know that we are one with the one. And we may think a thing and we may say a thing and we may do a thing. And each one has its own power to bring about what it is that we are sending forth. And so this morning we use our word and we speak it with clarity and joy. Today is our day, a day of unexpected joy, a day of unlimited opportunities, a day to open up and be more and to love more and to let ourselves be loved. And we are so grateful for all that is and all that can be, and with joyful expectation, knowing that unexpected happens, we let it be. And together, and so it is. All right. Yes, you, Gordon.
Jolly old St. Gordon, that's quite an expectation. Announcements, upcoming events. Before we get too far into that, I'd like to just give you a quick update on the last men's group meeting, which was this past Thursday. Steve hosted it in a really nice house. But I'm gonna tell you what was on the menu, because we always do a little eating as well as talking, right, at these things, or a lot of talking and a little eating, either way. Now I'm gonna say, raise your hand if you think you know what diet formulation this is from. Okay, first of all, sausage that is already cooked and sliced, so it can be dipped in a sauce. Let's see, the dip is artichoke. Yes, an artichoke cream dip right out of Trader Joe's, or yeah. Okay, great, yeah. Okay, anybody got the meal yet? What do you think it is? Well, that's what I want you to get. Yeah. So why, if you were following a certain diet plan, why would you add these particular items? And then there was also celery, plain celery, and then it was topped up, of course, with a pizza that had a cauliflower crust with just cheese and vegetables on it. Keto. The one that everybody says is so difficult and so insane to try and follow. I mean, here one of our own guys just kind of whips this baby up, and it includes Trader Joe's best pizza do. So have it around for a Big Steve here. Yeah, loving it. I don't know who the next, well, we do have another men's group coming up in, what is it, first week in December? No. In January, and we'll be saying more about that. That's going to be at Steve's place again if he's still game, because he's offered to do 2 of those. Okay, getting back to the other business here, let's see what we're doing today. I'll call you back later. He's having a meltdown. Yeah. He doesn't know what a meltdown is till he has to clean up after puppies. It's an inside joke. Okay. Should you look outside and see this, check for LCSL closing information on WHAS 11, okay. And there's also a little website you can go to if you'd rather that. December 15th, we have our own Wendy Sharp back, and celebrating light in the darkness will be the topic for her that day, an exploration of our emotional footprint. And I don't mean across my hind end, please. Okay, dokie. Coming next week, Chile has its own Sunday now, the third one, December 15th. Remember, that's the take it or leave it thing where you bring what you like, anything, and you take what you like, anything, anytime, anywhere. Thank you. And World Healing Meditation celebrates that by Telebridge Tuesday morning. That's after, well, that's December 31st, okay. So that's a ways away, but you can get ready for it now. Call, and it gives you the number there and the access code. You're going to have to write those down at least by the Sunday before the 31st.
Or just get in touch with me. It's just an awesome way to start the new year. And it's a tradition for LCSL. We've done it every year that we've been here. And so just let me know. It's just an incredible hour. You're doing it with the whole world. There are groups around the entire world that do that meditation.
While we have you on the stage, or on the chair, how's the weekend going? Is it going or is it gone with the women's retreat thing that was happening?
It was fabulous on Saturday, but go ahead.
Okay, maybe it's coming up. Let's see. Practitioner of the day, Tammy Steppenfield.
Yay.
Yay, Tammy. Meet Tammy up front, power shower for group prayer, etc. Confidential prayer by request. Other than that, it's just free-floating information, huh? Yeah, okay. December's affirmation, all of us together. Everyone is a child of God. Everyone. We are all reflections of our source, which is magnificent in all ways. Yes.
Praise God.
Tell your story. Now do we have a story to tell? I guess I should have waited on yours, Steve. Oh, well, I kind of stole your thunder there on that one. Keto diet. Man, you made it look good, and it was tasty.
I have a story after your story.
Please. My story's over.
It is?
Yes.
Okay, well then I'll tell my story.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, so everybody knows we've been advertising the John Berry concert that was this past Thursday. And I went, Tammy went, a friend of Tammy's, and Carolyn went. And just like we told you, it was fabulous, just fabulous. And we were sitting there, and I have to tell you, since I discovered John Berry in 1995 in Oh Holy Night, everything he sings now to me is a spiritual experience, because especially when he does Christmas songs. So we're sitting there through the whole thing, and the last song he does, of course, is his big Oh Holy Night. And so I'm sitting there, and I got my hands like this, and I'm thinking how wonderful this is, and how I wish everybody was here. I got my minister on the left, and my good friend Tammy on the right, and I'm just so into this, bobbing back and forth. And then it was over, and Tammy jumps up and says, "We're leaving." And Carolyn jumps up and says, "I'm going with them." And, you know, that will bust a spiritual bubble so fast. So, okay, I come back. And normally the concert is over then. And so anyway, they stepped around me, and I'm sitting there by myself. But then he starts a video that explains how almost exactly a year ago, he discovered he had tonsil cancer and went through a period of can't remember if it was chemo or radiation. Didn't know if he'd ever be able to sing again. And he did this little video because he said he got too emotional talking about it, so they recorded it. And then he sang this beautiful song that was, I believe it was called I Want to Live, or My Reason to Live, I can't remember, but it was absolutely fabulous. And of course, as I had been doing all the night, as soon as he hit that last note, I'm standing up and my hands are over my head and I'm clapping. And he comes up from his bow, and at that point, I'm the only person standing. And he looks right at me and goes, "Yes." And I'm looking around like, where is everybody? Nobody's here that I know. And then everybody stands up and he gets this ovation. And so it's over, and I gather our seat cushions, and I go up and I buy a Christmas CD. And he's in line there. People are getting autographs. And I think, no, I'm by myself. Why don't I just get in the back of this line? And so I do, and more people get behind me, and I finally get up there. And I have to tell you, we just have to all go next year. This is the most charming man. He stood there and talked to me because he's he lives now in Gallatin, Tennessee, where I grew up. He talked to me he told me where he lived in relation to where my family lived, how to get there. And all these people were behind us, and he's chit-chatting about Gallatin, and when he needs to know something, he calls Charles Schultz or somebody like that. He said, because he knows everything about Gallatin. And then he asked me about this and that. I mean, he's just talking to me like we just knew each other for years and saw each other in Kroger. I mean, it's just amazing. So I just wanted to tell you that you missed it. I want you to go next year, and I want you to listen to Oh Holy Night if you get a chance. Do it in the dark by yourself the first time, because you'll weep. It's just really, really beautiful. And yeah, I had the CD in my hand that I'd bought, and he said, here, let me sign that. He opened it up, he signed it on the inside. And then he said, you want a picture? And I said, sure. And I had my phone in my pocket, I took it out, and he took the phone and took that picture. And I was able to say to him before I left, I am knowing for you perfect divine health for many, 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 many years. And you know it too. And he had the most humble, beautiful look on his face when I said that. And it was just a fantastic experience. So I just wanted to share that with you.
I have to say, it seems to me that y'all are related. I know. I mean, it's a brother-sister picture if I ever saw it.
Oh, well, that would be fabulous. But thank you.
Thank you.
That's what story time's all about.
Wow. And we get so many of them, too.
That's because we experience something and we know that it's a thing of beauty. And a lot of people experience things, they never know that. It's kind of sad, but they never know it. My reading today is from our Science of Mind this month. And again, I got a whole bunch I wanted to read, but I'm going to pick Why Do We Suffer? The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi. Don't fight your fears, see through them. There is nothing in God's world to be afraid of. This thing called you. One of the greatest gifts we have is free choice. It can also cause us great pain. Why? Having free will implies we have more than one choice. So in our humanness, we can make choices that create pain and suffering for us and those around us. Ernest Holmes writes, we must expect to experience the logical result of our thoughts and acts, be it good or what we call evil. In our life, there will be setbacks and disappointments. They can teach us lessons. When life hurts, we can ask, what is the lesson in this event? How can I grow from it? My wife and I recently facilitated a Science of Mind Foundations class. After praying in, we began each class with the following question. How did God show up in your life this week? Here's one man's story. He noticed one of his car tires was low on air. The next morning, he went to his garage to fill up the tire, and it exploded. He then put on the spare, which was also low but drivable. He drove to the mechanic and bought 4 new tires, drove it a block, and his car made a funny sound, so he returned to the mechanic. His alternator was broken. He never would have made it home. This man saw God in his life because the flat occurred in his garage where he was able to repair it, and his broken alternator happened 1 block from the mechanic. When some might have seen only problems, he looked different, deeper, and saw spirit acting in his life. Lessons abound if we are willing to look beyond what shows up on the surface. I choose to make life-affirming choices. I make only choices that increase peace, love, and kindness in my life, in the lives of those around me. I live in a state of joy and happiness. And that happened to me what happened to him. I'm sitting at the red light Friday, and I guess my mind drifted because all of a sudden, the horn behind me, boom, 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 and I think, oh. And so anyway, I get ready to step on my gas and go, and here comes a guy running a red light, doing 60 miles an hour. I would probably be dead today. But you know what? God saved me because my mind drifted. Thank you, God. And I've been thanking him ever since Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock, let me tell you. Thank you all.
As we continue our storybooks from children's storybooks, we are going to do this morning Room on the Broom. So, make sure I do this right. All right. The witch had a cat and a hat that was black and long ginger hair and a braid down her back. How the cat purred and how the witch grinned as they sat on their broomstick and flew through the wind. But how the witch wailed and how the cat spat when the wind blew so wildly it blew off the hat. Over the fields and forests they flew, the dog wagged his tail and the stormy wind blew. The witch laughed out loud and held on to her hat, but away blew the bow from her braid just like that. Down, cried the witch, and they flew to the ground. They searched for the bow, but no bow could be found. Then out from a tree with an ear-splitting shriek, there flapped a green bird with a bow in her beak. She dropped it politely and bent her head low, and then said, as the witch tied her braid in the bow, I am a bird as green as can be. Is there room on the broom for a bird like me? Yes, cried the witch, so the bird fluttered in. The witch tapped the broomstick and whoosh, they were gone. Over the reeds and rivers they flew, the bird shrieked with glee and the stormy wind blew. They shot through the sky to the back of beyond. The witch clutched her bow, but let go of her wand. Down, cried the witch, and flew to the ground, and they searched for the wand, but no wand could be found. Then all of a sudden, from out of a pond, leaped a dripping, wet frog with a dripping, wet wand. He dropped it politely and then said with a croak, as the witch dried the wand on a fold of her cloak, I am a frog, as clean as can be. Is there room on the broom for a frog like me? Yes, said the witch. So the frog bounded on. The witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. Over the moors and the mountains they flew. The frog jumped for joy, and the broom snapped in two. Down fell the cat and the dog and the frog, and down they went tumbling into a bog. The witch's half broomstick flew into a cloud, and the witch heard a roar that was scary and loud. I am a dragon as mean as can be, and which with French fries tastes delicious to me. No, cried the witch, flying higher and higher. The dragon flew after her, breathing out fire. Help, cried the witch. Flying down to the ground, she looked all around, but no help could be found. The dragon drew near with a glint in his eye and said, just this once, I'll have witch without fries. But just as he planned to begin on his feast, from out of the ditch rose a horrible beast. It was tall and dark and sticky and feathered and furred. It had 4 frightful heads. It had wings like a bird, and its terrible voice when it started to speak was a yowl and a growl and a croak and a shriek. It dripped and it squelched and it strode from the ditch, and it said to the dragon, buzz off, that's my witch. The dragon drew back and he started to shake. I'm sorry, he sputtered. I made a mistake. It's nice to have met you, but now I must fly. As he spread out his wings, it was off through the sky. Then down flew the bird, and down jumped the frog, and down climbed the cat, and said the dog. Thank you, oh, thank you, said the grateful witch cried. Without you, I'd be in that dragon's inside. Then she filled up her cauldron and said with a grin, find something, everyone. Throw something in. So the frog found a lily, the cat found a cone, the bird found a twig, and the dog found a bone. They threw them all in, and the witch stirred them well, and while she was stirring, she muttered a spell. Iggity, ziggity, zaggity, zoom, then out rose a truly magnificent broom, with seats for the witch and the cat and the dog, a nest for the bird and a pool for the frog. Yes, cried the witch, and they all clambered on. The witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. Room on the broom. I like that story, and partly because it always says to me that there's always room on the broom, and it can be custom made. You know, but you made that broom, the last broom, to fit everyone so that they had just what they needed. The frog had a pond, the bird had a place to sit, and the dog had a place to sit. And they were all on that broom, and they were all very happy, and they were all very different. And so when we think about our lives and who we are in this time of year, who is riding on our broom? Who is going with us? Who have we invited in? And maybe is there someone that we have purposely not invited to be a part of our group? So think about who's riding your broom. Your family, whatever, you may have one family member, you may have a dozen. You know, so which ones are riding the broom with you? Is there one who's not? And your people that you work with, are they riding with you? Or do you feel like they're riding against you? The people that you just meet on the street, do you think that they are on the same path that you are? Or are they going a wholly different path? And that keeps you from letting them into your circle. So it's just something to be aware of, to think about who's on my broom. And are they there because I respect all humans, all people, all things, or are they there because they have something to give me? And it's a combination. You know, there are some people in our lives that because of what they give us, we welcome them and we enjoy them. And others in our lives that we're not so sure about and we don't welcome them. So have you customized your life to include everyone? You know, when we look at the political situation that has been going on for 300 years, you know, well, probably more like 5,000 years, the same kind of stuff, you know, and discord and all of that. What if we ever could figure out how to get on the same broom? If we could figure out how that it's okay for you to be the way you are, but you can ride my broom with me. It's okay that you don't believe that what I believe, and you don't see it the way I see it. It's all right. Let's get on this broom and go together. And that would encourage us to listen, if you had them in close proximity to you, to really listen to another person in another way of seeing. And so you know, when I hear political things and they're so divisive and there's so much pettiness and ugliness and meanness coming out on all parts, I think if we could only get on the same broom, if we could only begin to see things not as you and me, but as us. And it's okay to be you. It's okay to be a bird and, you know, tweet, tweet. And it's okay to be a dog and woof, woof and all that. But we're all aware that we're on the same broom, that we're moving in the same direction. And so as you think about that, as you think about your broom, think about who's riding your broom with you. Who wants to tell me the golden rule? Do unto others as you would have done unto you. I like the platinum rule. Do unto others as they would want to be done unto. You know, if the original, it has great value and it's met the needs of many people for years and years and generations. But it still is, I'm going to do to you, to give to you, be with you in the way that I think is best, in the way that feels good to me. And the platinum rule is I'm going to get close enough to you to find out what it is that you want, what it is that you value, and I will support that. And if I can give that unto you, I will. And so when we think about that, some examples, parents who decide that their children should be this. Well, I know the Jewish mother who got to be a doctor or a lawyer, kind of thing. And they decide for their children and they push them in that way. And they feel like they're doing good for their children, that they're giving them the head start that they need to be successful. But they're not listening to the child or to the young person. They're only listening to what they believe, how they would want to be treated, how they would want to be pushed forward to get a good, income and all of that. But the young person that they're talking to may have a totally different dream. That's not what they want to do. They don't want to be in an office at all. Then the parent has the opportunity to support them in that dream. I have a cousin who is a park ranger, and he loves it. And when he first told everybody he was going to be a park ranger, they all went, "You don't want to make much money, do you?" Well, he lives in a park, and his job is to take care of the animals in the park and the visitors to the park and to be outside a lot and doing a lot of, and he loves it. That's where he wanted to go. So when we want to do a golden rule or a platinum rule, first we have to find out what the other person is desiring. And then we figure out how we can support them in that. Husbands push wives, wives push husbands to fill what they think is best versus trying to figure out what would be best for all of them, not just on one side. Okay. Elliot and Wilfred were friends from the time they were in grade school. And Wilfred was just a kind of guy who loved to tell stories and all that kind of stuff. He was always outgoing, always in trouble. Elliot was more steadfast, okay? They were in the Boy Scouts together between the two wars. And in the Boy Scouts, they learned things that were very practical. How do you cook a stew in tinfoil? How do you whittle a stick that you need? How do you find something that is edible in a place where it doesn't look like anything's edible? All those things came out in the Boy Scouts. And so they loved that, and they really enjoyed being Boy Scouts. And so one weekend, they went on a lot of weekends. Their leader was called Lloyd Johnson. He was the plumber. He was the whittler. He was always whittling something. And he was their scout leader, and they loved him. He was a round little man with a little face and he, kind of funny looking, but they just loved him because he took care of them. He taught them new things and all that. So one weekend they went on this trip, and the scout leader started talking to them about whispering pines. Have you ever heard a pine whisper? No. Do they whisper? Only a few. They're rare. But they love to be around human beings. They love to be touched, and they love to be talked to in quiet and gentle ways. Oh, really? And so he kept talking about the whispering pines. So Saturday night after dinner, they went to find a whispering pine. They were all so very, very excited. They hiked for about 30 minutes and came to a clearing that had a tall pine tree right in the middle, covered with snow. And it was just beautiful. And the guy said, "Shh, quiet, quiet." And he walked up to the pine tree, and he began cooing to the pine tree. He took a branch in his hand, and he rubbed the branch, and he spoke compliments. What a magnificent tree you are, how beautiful you are, how you smell so great and wonderful, and we're so thankful for your being just who you are, a pine tree. And oh my, if you wanted to whisper to me. And he just kept doing that. And that pine tree began to sway. And it swayed very gently. There was no wind, but it swayed. And so the boys were like, "What happened?" He said, "Who wants to try?" And so the boys one at a time stepped up, took their branch, and rubbed it gently with their hands. and talked to this whispering pine tree. And the more they did it, the more the tree swayed. And the snow began to fall off, and it just swayed out there in the middle of that meadow. And the boys stood there and were amazed. Trees that talked to them. And Wilford was really impressed with that. A pine tree talked just to him. So he carried that memory, loved that memory for over 15 years. He was still caught in the mystery and the wonder of the talking pine tree. So he went back home. He had left home by then. He had already been through the war and lost his innocence and all of that. And he came back home to town. There was something going on, some event, and he was there seeing everybody, visiting with them. And there was his old scout leader, Lloyd. And so he went over and sat next to him and said, "I hope you remember me, because I sure remember you." And he said, "Oh yeah, absolutely." And they talked for a long, long time. And in the conversation, he said, "The whispering pine was just," and Lloyd began to chuckle. Wilford said, "Well, you know, the whistling pine, the whispering pine, that was just, why are you laughing?" He said, "You can make a pine tree whisper." "I can?" He said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "You get a friend that climbs up in another tree nearby, and you get a thin rope that goes by that's almost invisible. And then as you talk to the pine tree, your friend starts it to sway, and it sways more and more." Wilford was so disappointed. He had believed. He was a believer, and now he knew it was a trick. And he was really sad. But he loved Lloyd, and Lloyd said, "It's just a fun thing." Okay. But he had lost some more innocence. He had lost something that meant something really great to him. And I love that. You know, in Texas, they go snipe hunting. I don't know what they do here. They take the boys out, and we took a youth group once. I did, and a couple other chaperones, and we took a youth group out looking for snipes. And, you know, everybody knows that there's no such thing as a snipe, right? And so the boys are wandering around all over the park, and we spent the night. We had cabins and stuff, and we lost one of them. And and I thought, "Oh my gosh, I've lost a child," you know. And we got everybody out looking for him, and we finally found him, and he was just fine. But that was a moment of like, "Oh, I'm never taking him into the woods again." You know, being a youth leader, you got to do it. At least I did. And oh my, the things you learn, things you don't want to know. But that one was a fun thing. So the wonder of youth, being naive about things, and having that spark of belief in really believing. And so that is another part of welcoming others onto your broom. Having that wonder, that expectation, that joy of knowing that the unexpected can happen. The unexpected can be real. The unexpected can feed us. And so to live our lives knowing that the unexpected is just right around the corner. And it will bless us if we open ourselves to it and to be aware. I loved what Tammy read this morning. You know, that whole wonder of reaching out in love. And so, as you think this morning, think about inviting others to share your life at the deepest level. And just think about what that might mean to you and what that is. We're going to do a oneness blessing. And so in that oneness blessing will support the feeling and the expectation that it's all good and it's all one, and we all are welcomed on this path we call life. Okay, so come here, girl. We don't have any other oneness blessing givers, do we? Okay, all right. I'm going to give you one, and then you give me one, okay? The people who started this did so because they wanted all of us to know that we're connected. Okay? And so in this moment, I invite you to open yourself to feel that very thing. And so, we breathe in the blessings, in the presence, in the joy. And with deep gratitude, we let it be. And so it is.
It's time for our prosperity. And we gratefully accept your credit, debit cards, which you can do on the back table behind Vernon. You can also do it on our webpage, and you can also do it in our donation basket, which we're getting ready to pass around. We thank you for all of your gratitude to us and your helping us. We appreciate it. It's greatly needed and much appreciated. So if you'll join me with our prosperity affirmation, please. During these happy holidays, I radiate the energy of abundance and generosity that uplifts me and all those I come in contact with. Yes.
So, we receive our blessings with great joy, knowing that as we give, we receive. And so we give with joy, receive with joy, knowing that each dollar is a blessing to us and to the wider community. And so it is. Okay. I ask myself, what do I know? I know that there is only one. I know that it is perfect health. From the smallest cell to how they all work together. Spirit is the wholeness and completeness. I know that as I speak my word, Spirit says yes. I know that health is part of our inheritance for each of us. And so today I speak my word for health for Wendy's mom, for all of those around her and those affected by her recent fall, where she broke both legs. But we know that she has perfect care from doctors and nurses and family and all those that come in contact with her. And that the family is comforted and guided and directed in their support. And so we breathe in health. We breathe it in, and we know that it is. And know that we, as we confirm and affirm the health for Wendy's mom, we do it for ourselves as well. Each of us is the health of spirit and expression. We accept it. We know it. We live it. And we rejoice in it. And together we let it be, knowing that it is done, knowing that it is good. And so it is. Okay. Closing song. If you'd like to stand. Yes, I know. How many were at the retreat where he introduced it? Yeah. All right, let's circle up. We have Miss Constance and all her bling.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, yes, there's Christmas decorations scattered around, and there's more at home, but I just didn't get here with them. But anyway, anything you want, take, except for the snowflakes. Those stay for the month of December as part of the decoration. But anything else you see that, tempts you, please, feel free. Oh, and if anybody knows anybody that really needs a tree, I have the old Scotch pine. It's an extra tree that I've used a couple of times since I've been here. But anyway, it's the kind where you stick the branches in. But if you know anybody that needs a Christmas tree, it's a 6-foot tree. Yeah, so if you do, let me know, okay? No. No way, Jose. All right. And so with laughter in our hearts and in our faces, and with joy in the wonder of life and love, we look around us and we bless each other, we love each other, and we support each other. And it is such a good thing. And we go forth expecting the unexpected, and let Spirit surprise us with joy. And together, and so it is. All right.
Well, he was always a Scrooge, but we're gradually getting him. He's getting to be an elf. I don't know if he'll ever be Santa,
Yeah, picture a Grinch or something.
Hi, Jerry, how you doing? Unbelievable, isn't it?
I still have some coconut cream pie. I had some yesterday, and I got another piece left.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Rob's birthday. The grandchildren will be there.
How are you? Oh, that's awesome. Now, wonderful for you. Yeah, that's awesome. And I love your jacket.
I've had this for years. Thinking this, I bought this, and one of those things, we were out in the woods with another group. Yes.
Okay,
I think I bought it when I was out west. I have looked at this and
yeah, that's great.